After the black comedy of Delicatessen, it's time for another movie made by the same directing duo. You'll see another surreal vision of the dystopian society filled with weird characters of all sorts. Prepare yourself for an enchanting and bizarre story about love, loneliness, family, and life itself. Welcome back, guys. It's Motion Recaps again, and today we're covering the 1995 sci-fi fantasy, The City of Lost Children. Spoilers ahead, but let's begin. In a dystopian society, a being created by the scientists is aging rapidly, and it's kidnapping children to steal their dreams with the hope that it'll help with his rapidly aging issue. A group of cyborg cultists steal a new batch of children for him, together with a little boy who is a brother of a carnival strongman. The strongman then joins forces with a girl from the orphan gang, and they head out on a journey to find and save the other kids. However, first they need to face the evil cult, and the evil conjoined twins that run the gang of orphans. Now I know you guys are ready for another wild recap here, but before I break it down for you, please take a moment right now and subscribe to this channel, like this video, and hit that bell icon to be notified of when another recap drops. Okay, well let's go ahead and get it started with The City of Lost Children. The movie begins on a Christmas night. A little child is carefully looking around the room when Santa gets out of the fireplace. Suddenly, a bunch of Santas show up, and the poor kid freaks out. Then, we see a man waking up screaming. His name is Crank, and he is a highly intelligent but malicious being created by a vanished scientist. Crank is unable to dream, which causes him to age prematurely. Crank is trying to dream again by stealing children to extract dreams from them. He lives on an abandoned oil rig together with 6 childish clones, a dwarf named Martha, and a brain in a vat named Irvin. Then, we see a city filled with people that are watching the carnival strongman called One. However, everything goes wrong when a couple of little thieves try to steal money from a kid named Denry, who's gathering money from the viewers. One adopted Denry, and he sees him as a little brother. Suddenly, a man who is with the thieves stabs One's manager, and he wounds him pretty badly. Later on, members of a cult called the Cyclops show up in front of One's trailer. That ugly bunch has mechanical eyes and ears, and they're stealing children for Crank, who gives them mechanical parts in return. The group breaks into the trailer, and they capture little Denry. One does his best to save his brother, but the cultists outnumber him. The group then starts chasing him, but One manages to hide in an abandoned building, where he meets a group of orphans. They help One when the Cyclops show up, by acting like he's just some random worker, who they tied up. Cyclops takes a good look around to see if there's anything suspicious, and soon, they leave. However, they trigger an alarm and that forces the kids to flee, leaving One tied up. One manages to free himself, and he catches up with the kids, but they shoo him away. On the abandoned oil rig, Clones and Martha are celebrating Irvin's birthday. Crank shows up and he kills the mood. What a party pooper. He then argues with Irvin, who tells him that he's maybe evil and scary, and that's why kids have constant nightmares. Crank gets angry at Irvin, and he puts him to sleep. The group of child thieves is back at school, and we find out that they're all part of the organization that's run by the conjoined twins called the Octopus. Every kid gives what they stole to the Octopus, and they tell kids about their new plan to steal the safe. The Octopus explains everything with the identical replica of the safe. However, it's too heavy to lift, and they need someone strong enough for that job. One finds the kids. He alarms the guard dog, and he escapes right into the classroom. There he lifts the safe, and everyone gets the same idea. That night, the kids break into the house together with One by using a cat and a mouse. One then snatches the safe. The group makes a quick stop at the harbor, and One drops the safe into the water where he sees the cultist truck. He goes after them, and a little girl called Miette follows him. They lose the truck, but Miette tells One that she will show him where the Cyclops headquarters are, and she hands him a mechanic's eye. Back at the abandoned oil rig, Irvin tricks one clone into releasing a plea for help in the form of a bottled dream, telling the story of what's going on in the oil rig. Irvin hopes that someone will come and destroy the rig and save the children. One and Miette infiltrate the Cyclops headquarters. They came at the right time, because Martha is there with one of the clones to exchange the mechanic devices and the kids. The leader of the cult installs the eye device on a new member, and then One shows up with Miette. However, they are quickly captured and sentenced to death. They will be thrown into the sea the following night. The one cult member brings Miette's jewelry to the Octopus, and he tells them everything about the recent breach and planned execution. The Octopus then goes to their old friend Marcello, with whom they worked at a circus. He's smoking some opium, and the Octopus convinces him to help them. They tell him he only needs to save One, because he needs him to retrieve the lost safe, adding that Miette can swim with the fish. Marcello then gets up and pulls out his pet flea. He gives her a metal point, in which she takes the mysterious green fluid. Back at the oil rig, Crank tries to make the kids happy by playing some music and acting like Santa, but that doesn't work at all. I mean, look at him. I'm even scared now. One and Miette are waiting for their horrible fate. The buckets with fish are holding them from falling, and seagulls are getting hungrier than ever. 3 Cyclops are betting on who will fall first when Marcelo's dog shows up with his flea buddy, who injects a green fluid into one cultist. Marcelo then plays a tune on his music box that activates the fluid in the guy's organism. He begins to go crazy and attacks his friends. Marcelo gets closer to One and Miette, and while he's rescuing One, Miette falls into the harbor and sinks. To her luck, a diver saves her. The diver looks exactly like the clones from the oil rig. Miette wakes up, and she finds out that her savior has amnesia. He provides some exposition to Miette, and he tells her about the devil that kidnaps the children, and that he's holding them on an abandoned oil rig. He explains to her that one man in the city has a tattooed map that shows the way to the rig through the minefield. Miette uses the periscope, and she sees Denry and the other children boarding the ship, ready to go to the oil rig. One and Marcelo are in a bar, and both of them are in tears because of Miette. Marcelo planned to save her, even though the octopus told him otherwise. He tells the girl to keep One occupied and to try to make him feel better. Then, Marcelo gets a call from them, and they tell him that their man will soon come to pick up One. One is drinking like crazy while trying to cope with losing Miette. But then she shows up, and both One and Marcelo are in disbelief. One passes out due to all the alcohol he drank. The man who works with the octopus comes to pick One up. Marcelo and the man get One into the truck, but then the kids save him, and the man leaves without noticing that One is not in the back of the truck anymore. Miette thanks her friends, and then she parts her ways with them. That night, One and Miette are trying to sleep, but Miette has a fear that One will abandon her once he finds his brother. One tells her that she's his little sister now, and that he'll take care of her too, and then they fall asleep. Then we see that the diver found the capsule that Irvin sent. He brings it to his home, and that night, while he sleeps, the dreams from the capsule merge with his dreams, and we find out that he's a creator of Crank, Martha, Irvin, and clones. One day, he had a serious fight with Crank in which Martha knocked him out, and then they threw him into the sea. That's why he lost his memories. Dreams from the capsule then somehow get to Miette, and she wakes up with the knowledge of everything that happened. The next day, 2 of them go to a tattoo shop to find information about the map tattoo. One gets Miette's name tattooed on his arm, and after Miette bribes the tattoo artist, his wife shows him the map that they're looking for. Back at the oil rig, Martha and a clone see that something is approaching them underwater, and we find out that it's the diver, and he's carrying something with him. Marcelo is captured by the octopus, who takes his fleas, and then they order their helper to kill Marcelo. However, he spares Marcelo because he's sick of the octopus's orders. One and Miette are getting ready to go to the oil rig. Then the octopus shows up, and they use Marcelo's flea on One, and after they play a tune on the music box, One attacks Miette. Then, a spectacular chain of events is triggered by one of Miette's tears, and it leads to a ship crashing into the pier before One can throttle her. One gets conscious of what's happening. They're trapped, and the octopus pours the gasoline into the water with the intention of burning them. Suddenly, Marcelo arrives and sets his fellow fleas fellas on the octopus. One and Miette escape, and the octopus falls into the water. Marcelo throws a cigarette into the water, and he makes fried calamari. One and Miette escape. One and Miette make it to the oil rig. One puts a string from his sweater around her, and Miette goes to find Denry. She's careful sneaking around, but when she heads to a room, Martha hears her because the stairs function like organ tiles. Martha gets her gun, and she hops on a camera to check the situation out. Miette heads back, but the string breaks, and she loses her way. The clones find One, and he throws them one by one to a room below. Martha catches up to Miette, and she's about to shoot her after ambushing her, but the diver kills her with his harpoon. The clones show up, and the diver orders them to put the dynamite all around the rig because he plans to destroy everything that he created. The clones leave the room with him, leaving Martha and Miette alone. Martha shows the girl which way to go, and then she tries to kill her, but One shows up and saves Miette at the last moment. Miette then finds Denry asleep in Crank's dream-extracting machine, and Irvin tells her that to release him, she must use the machine to enter the dream herself. In the dream world, she meets Crank and makes a deal with him to replace the boy as the source of the dream. Crank fears the trap, but plays along, believing himself to be in control. Miette then uses her imagination to control the dream and turn it into an infinite loop, destroying Crank's mind. One then wakes Miette up, and they get Denry and the other children, and they get on a boat, and the diver, strapped with the dynamite on one of the rig's legs. He acts all crazy, shouting that he will destroy everything, but he regains his senses as everyone is rowing away and pleads with his remaining creations to come back to rescue him. But a seabird lands on the handle of the blasting mechanism, blowing him and the rig up. The movie ends as One and Miette are looking at Denry with happiness in their eyes. And that's our recap of The City of Lost Children. What another fantastic movie. Visual storytelling at its finest. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie in the comment section below. If you haven't done so, subscribe to this channel and like this video, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified of when we have another movie recap ready for you to enjoy. But for now, Thanks for watching Motion Recaps, and I'll see you next time.